It's the Slam Dunk.
I'm going to kick off with this, okay? Over the past couple of weeks, I've really upped the ante on some of the utter nonsense in the public arena. And I've called it out. I've been pretty brutal to the point, I suppose, on some of these idiots. And I'm told it's seen record numbers. There's been some really, really good engagement. So thank you for watching and commenting. And for that, I'm really grateful. Thank you so much. The latest polling shows, though, that trust in the media is dipping further, with only, 27% of people trusting the media, while 48% do not now trust the media. This makes the media the least trusted institution below central and local government. Oh my God. They trust the local mayor and politicians more than us. It's not something to crow about. It's something to be really worried about, but I'm going to be honest and put it out there anyway. That's what makes me carry on and do what I do this. We need to win trust back. And I need to show you that I can be trusted to tell the story and to be open and honest and put it in front of you. All stories, all angles, everyone gets hit. But I'm concerned, everyone gets praised, but no favourites. And I get it, because to a degree and to a point, I'm seeing more examples of this. Take the One News story this week on the Manarewa Marae and Te Pāti Māori scandal. This is very serious. This is potentially electoral fraud. Yet One News, I just don't get this, barely mentions the Māori Party's role in all this. They're at the heart of it. The police investigation is looking at the Māori Party. TV1's Māori reporter does a haka with the Hikoi organiser. Now, that doesn't look too independent, but anyway. And Radio New Zealand hosts are spotted and taking photos with the organisers of the Hikoi. Nice smiley photos. Now, is this examples of bias? Is it? Or is it just examples of people taking photos with people? But it doesn't help, does it? It paints a picture of collusion, potentially, even though it may not be. But no one calls them out because it's all been accepted. That's what it is. Yet I mentioned the Hikoi being a waste of space, because I thought it was. I thought they were wasting their time because the bill was never going to pass. Never go anywhere. So I called it a waste of space. Oh, my God. People ripped into me. How can I say that? You can't say that. It's racism. No, it's not. I said it's a waste of space. Don't waste your time on it. The bill's not going anywhere. It's going to get canned. Why can't I say that? Hikoi was just a giant week off. So as long as you say what the left is saying, then they have no problem with it. But don't go out and say things that are against the narrative of the media pack. I'm sorry, I'll say what I like. Free opinion. But there's a bit of that going on, you see. So free speech is fine as long as it's my free speech. Do you know what I mean? So we need to be genuinely open to free speech, not critical of it if someone has a different opinion to you. And media are too often too narrow in who they interview. They take political positions on, or moral positions or fundamental positions on a number of people that they will not put in their stories. So Don Brash and people like that, they won't get a look in. Too often I feel that the media crucifies the right and gives the left a bit of a red carpet smooth ride at times. But some have suggested I've suddenly gone right wing. What on earth does that even mean? I don't even know what it means. But it's been levelled at me before. Mind you, it's also been said that I'm as right-wing as the right-wingers claim that I'm left-wing. So I don't know which wing I'm on. I play a halfback. Honestly, after 30 years in this game and refusing to even vote, I've dished it out to everyone that I think deserves it. And they've all deserved it at some stage, no matter what colour, race, creed or party they belong to. Helen Clark's media man, Mike Munro, once said that he didn't, on me, he said that I didn't care for the colour of the blood, red or blue. It didn't matter as long as the blood was flowing. And I've been abused and complained about by people from all parties. Famously, Bill English once rang the newsroom saying, "Where is that fat?" Now, the word I just went beep on, where is that fat? It starts with C. I'm going to leave it there. I did a bit of an investigation on John Tauhiri once. I saw him get sacked from the cabinet. The next night, I returned home to my house and all the doors and windows had been opened. It was quite freaky. TV3 called security. They kept an eye on me and watched my kids for the week. Who was it that had opened the doors and windows of my house to give me a fright? Now, all I do know is that my neighbour at the time worked in John Tauhiri's office. So they knew where I lived. Now, I'm not saying it was them, but what do you reckon? Now, I've taken the attitude for years that all politicians are fair game. And clearly someone was out to scare me on that occasion. It didn't work, just motivated me further. But politicians are not your friends. They don't ring me on my birthday or Christmas. They don't ever have, never will. They're not friends. But people get into this idea that somehow, we see so much of each other that there's friendships develop. You are closer to some MPs than other MPs. That's just human nature. but they're not friends. We have doorstepped and been in people's faces for decades, and I just don't see that same level of rigour that's shared across all the parties these days. I don't see them being tipped up like I've seen them in the past. I can honestly say that guys like Peter Gower, Guy Espiner, Oscar Alley, when we were in the press gallery in those days, we stayed up night and day chasing politicians here and around the world. And I just don't think there's not the appetite for it anymore. You don't see it. I believe we favoured no one. I've had complaints from all the parties. I chased John Banks and Brash and John Key around on the T-tapes issue. We got the footage on the T-tapes. We left no one untouched. We hit up Helen Clark, and I suggested that MP's default setting was to lie when they're under pressure. I said they're liars. She went public saying that I was too cynical, so we had battles with her there. I've had complaints from the Alliance that I was too close with ACT, and I've had complaints from ACT that I was too close with the Alliance. It's almost perfect storm, It's almost a perfect storm. But the latest suggestion is that I've gone all right-wing. Well, I don't know what it means. Here's how I've commented and reported this past few weeks on various party issues and politics. Is this right wing? Or you decide. This is what I've said about the leaders and parties and things. I've heavily criticised and questioned Christopher Luxon's fitness for the job, his lack of popularity, his inability to get this economy going. I've said I actually don't think he's the man for the job. I don't think he's the man for the job. I wouldn't be surprised if they rolled him. In short, he's flopped. He let Seymour and Peters control the first-year agenda, and his focus on the economy has come a year late. So if I'm so-called right-wing, then Luxon and the National Party might want their money back, because I'm not much of a friend. Seymour, I have applauded and I've criticised. I've applauded him for his gutsy Waitangi appearance. I thought that was gutsy. And the further you get away from Waitangi Day, the more gutsy it seems, actually. He stood his ground, and he said the truth. He told the truth. And getting his charter schools going, I've applauded him for. Because the Māori Boys School in Bombay, I've mentioned this a few times, St Stephen's, is once again open after 30-odd years of being run down and closed. It's open again. It's now a charter school. And I've given Seymour huge credit for that, because the charter school's idea is X, it's their policy, and he got the funding for it. And St Stephen's, which has old boys like Shane Jones and Honi Harawira, and the families will return there. St Stephen's is open again, not because of the Māori Party, not because of Labour. They don't believe in charter schools. The Māori Party does, but no, Labour doesn't. They're open again because David Seymour. But that doesn't fit the narrative, does it? That he's a sort of a racist Māori hater. So he doesn't get much credit in the mainstream media for that. I've given him credit because I think he deserves it. Good on him for making that funding and charter school policy available so St Stephen's can set up again. I think it's brilliant. What's Te Pāti Māori done for Māori this year? Have they opened schools? Anyway, equally, I criticised Seymour, a complete plonker, for the Polkinghorn letter of support. You know, the guy who was accused of murdering his wife. Seymour was just completely poor judge of that. Terrible. He shouldn't have been within 100 metres of that man or that issue. Why alarm bells didn't ring is beyond me. Now, do I sound like a right-winger here? On national, I've said if they want economic growth, merely hoping for it isn't enough. They need a reforming agenda, and I'm not sure that Christopher Luxon's up for a reforming agenda. I don't think he's got much planned. The Māori Party, I've said, look, chicken for being missing in action on the Manarewa Marae story, and whether or not they misuse data for their electoral gain, but I think they're right in the middle of this, and it stinks. It smells a bit fishy. And for Te Pāti Māori, their total arrogance is best summed up by Taku Te Where's. He's one of the MPs who I've labelled a vile, arrogant and racist MP. He refuses to acknowledge the English language. Pākehās like me, he openly disrespects his fellow white New Zealanders. And Shane Jones, who I think has actually started brilliantly this year, effectively buried this guy Where's alive with one of the best speeches I've ever seen in 30 years. The Greens I've had not much to do with this year. They haven't warranted much coverage. Last year we gave them plenty of coverage. They had their worst, Anus Horribilis, the worst year ever. They were woeful all over the show. Labour's climbed up in the polls by not being seen. And their best hope, I think, is to pack up and hide and hope no one can see them at all. Hipkins has gone up in the polls by doing nothing. They need to change, and they need to swallow some dead rats and accept that they weren't as great as they thought they were before they get back to power. So unless they change, they won't be fit for office. They need to show the public that they are different. They're years away from that. They need to serve their time in isolation and solitary confinement before anyone with a sane brain allows them back into power. They've got a lot of work to do. I certainly feel like Trump's victory has empowered the political conservatives and the political right. Destiny, which is no church, it's more a political arm, went too far in their storming of the library. I've said that. For that, platform listeners, I've been on the platform in the past week, the radio station, they decided that I was a soft cock and left wing and woke, because I said that. No, I didn't agree with that. I have no idea which wing thing I am. It gets so confusing over the years. As I said, I'm going to settle on halfback. I stand firmly against any MP that sees a future for us by dividing us and running some radical separatist agenda. I will stand for my last breath against that sort of stuff. And the thing is, we have a beautiful and a lovely country, and separatism will not improve it. If that is now deemed right-wing, all those views, then so be it. I know what's right and I know what's wrong, and I will always call it.
Duncan Garner, live.